In this video, we are going to move on to developing our responses to our quality risks. Now, in the last video, we talked about those specified responses. And under the Policies and Procedures tab, we saw that there were these procedures and policies that had a CSQM1 reference. So these are the ones that they may address a particular quality risk that you have identified, but they may also just be more kind of motherhood types of policies and procedures that the standards board really thought were important for you to have, and likely you would have a quality risk even if you didn't identify it. So they are always going to be required. Again, we can take a look at that specified response video, but there is a way to go through and customize and tailor those. Now, the next step is to develop policies and procedures that do address those quality risks. And we can go about that in two different ways. If you already have policies and procedures that you know you're going to add anyways, you can come over to this Create button. So when I enter a brand new risk that doesn't already exist, I need to give it a particular title. These ones aren't going to have the CSQM reference, but they could have maybe a different reference that you want to give them. Then you would enter the policy, you would enter your procedure. So what is the statement of fact that you want everybody to follow, and what procedures are in place to make sure that they actually do follow those policies. Now, the standard again says that you need to have policies or procedures, but we do find many firms have both of them, and that's fine. If you're using a document to support those policies and procedures, you can reference that document in that spot there. And when you're done, remember to hit save. Now, if you've already been in the system or you have one of our templates, then you may already see some additional policies. Now, you can open those policies up by clicking on the plus button on that left-hand side, and you can read it very quickly here. The other way that you can get to it is by pressing that blue button, and that will bring it up and you can edit it. Again, to open these windows more, you can just click on the corner and drag it down. When you're finished making any of those edits, just remember to click the Save button. Now, because these ones at the top, the specified responses and a couple of these other really required policies, we don't allow them to be deleted. So you can go in and tailor them according to your firm. That's completely fine, but they do need to address those requirements. These other procedures, these can be deleted at any point in time. So that's where I would recommend adding your policies and procedures. The next step is to associate those policies and procedures to a risk. And so this is just another way that we could also add policies and procedures. So if we come down to I'm in our governance and leadership component, and I've come down and we have these assessed risks. Anytime I have an assessed risk, I need to have a response. So as I previously mentioned, one of those specified responses may be an appropriate response for this particular risk. So for example, under inspection findings are not addressed on a timely basis, I want to think about, is there any responses that I already have that address that risk? So to add a response, I'm going to click on this little plus button. Now, I could add a brand new response in here. I don't recommend doing it this way. Now, if you have a one-off, it's completely fine and it's going to work. But if you already have a policy and procedure, then you're going to be doing a lot of duplication. And a lot of times we find that there's a many-to-many relationship between the risks and the responses. So what I mean by that is that one risk may require multiple responses, and then you may have a response that addresses multiple risks. So this allows us to reuse a response if you enter it in through those policies and procedures tab, and then just come back here to associate them. Now here I may want to say, okay, complaints and allegations is an existing response that I have. It is a specified response. There's a CSQM1 reference, and I can go through and say, yeah, you know what, that actually does address that particular risk. So if I save that, you're going to then see that risk response associated with that particular risk. Now, if I want to see what it is again, I can click on that response and it's going to come up. Now, I can't edit it this way, but I can view it. If you've attached a risk response and you've changed your mind, you can simply click Remove Response. It's going to remove the reference, but it is not going to delete the policy and procedure. If you have a policy or procedure that you want to delete, you're going to be required to go into the Policies and Procedures tab. So one other thing that I just wanted to show you before we finish up with this section, I'm going to go back and I'm going to just add a couple of those responses so that you can really see here how this flows together and how the risks link through the into the responses. So again, I may have more than one. Now here, if you click the first letter of the listing, it's going to bring you down. So if I clicked on F, I click on F again, it's going to bring me to the next F. Just maybe sometimes a little bit easier way to jump around. So let's say I want to associate those two policies and procedures with that inspection finding risk. When I come back now to my policies and procedures, I'm going to see, well, there's that complaints and allegations policy, and I linked that through to this associated risk. So now I can see that, yes, this policy addresses this risk. So what you do want to make sure of is that you go back to all of your components and that any of those identified and assessed risks do have an appropriate response. It's a very important step in managing and designing your quality management system.